I'm Diana McCullum.
Hey, I'm Andrew Rodney.
And this is Fan vs. Fan for The Flash.
Flash.
Points.
Flash. Episode of The Flash, we see Gypsy trying to extradite HR to Earth-19. Cisco and Gypsy have a trial by combat, and Iris is writing a story about guns. Let's get into it. Let's talk pros. Alright, so pros for tonight's episode. Diana, what did you like?
Everything.
Oh, yeah.
This was a great episode.
It was a good explosion of everything. Yeah,
I'm so excited for a great episode. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time coming.
I've almost been like losing faith.
We needed this.
We did.
This was the refresh that we needed.
There hasn't been like train wreck episodes, but it's been a lot of the same for a long time. Like 3 years in a row of speedster villains. Come on, guys.
Right. And a lot of the same problems occurring. This was just a lovely refresher. Like for me, a pro might be the entire episode's existence.
I totally agree. All of the dialogue, all of the performances. Just like, I don't know who wrote or directed this episode, but I'm going to follow them on Twitter immediately. Yeah. Because, oh my god, the punch-up, the dialogue.
The writing was on point. The punch-up was really good. It was, comedically, it had some of the best jokes and most organic dialogue that I've seen so far in this series. Everyone reacted to one another like friends and human beings who had who have a vibrant history and friendship and understanding of one another. It felt the most meaty and complex, while at the same time being probably some of the lightest and most filled with levity that I've seen the dialogue be so far.
I totally agree. We're 3 seasons in, and it's one of the first episodes where I've been like, oh, these people are friends.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times Barry will be like, I have to go see my friends. And I'm like, they're not your friends. They're just people you hang out with.
And even when they're not friends, even with things like the addition of Julian to the Star Labs crew, even with that level of animosity, it has a level of animosity that feels familiar and understood. That level of like, yeah, this is the guy who's gotten on my nerves a couple times, but he's still good to have around. Like, it really felt richer even when there was animosity.
Yeah, and it was lighthearted, but also it gave such realness to the characters that it made it one of the more impactful episodes. Because, I know, like, we all knew Cisco wasn't going to get killed by Gypsy and that Cisco wasn't going to kill Gypsy, but at the same time, you're like, oh, Cisco's willing to die for HR. And any other episode, we would have been like, what a waste of an episode. We're bored. But this writing was so on point. Iris' storyline was even fun.
It was even fun.
She was a badass.
And I think because it was fun because of some of the relationships that were developed throughout this episode. Because in previous episodes, a lot of these plot lines feel contrived, of being like, oh, really? Cisco's gonna fight for HR? Like, he doesn't even seem to like HR that much. Or like, oh, Joe is worried about Iris. He wasn't for the last 9 articles that they were. Like, everything felt so contrived in previous episodes. In this one, because the dialogue was so witty and organic and sincere, all the friendships felt much more sustainable, much more real and solidified. So all of the stakes felt increased. Like, it really upped the ante of Iris's could have been a B plotline. It upped the ante of that. I felt more of it, yeah.
I definitely. And it's like plot points, I think plot problems that we normally notice and bother us don't bother us if we're just very encapsulated by the acting and the dialogue and the scenes that are happening.
Yeah.
Even that, like, such a simple scene of Iris distracting Joe, I think in any other episode would have been awful. But just that whole fake out with the dog and everything, it was actually like a really fun scene.
Really good.
And I've never enjoyed an Iris journalism storyline before.
Yeah.
But then her just like, I didn't really love, oh, well, those are for cons, but like, I did like, just like, and her going right up to the gun, being like, I'm immortal, bitch.
Yeah. I know that I'm alive in the future, so therefore I cannot die today.
She should be fighting
I am
all the
understanding
villains.
Causality to a certain degree and getting involved in this story.
Iris should have fought Gypsy.
Yeah.
She can't die for 4 months.
It was a lot stronger writing for an Iris story, and I think one of my big pros as well for this episode is going to be Gypsy. Gypsy was
great.
A really great character, a great anti-hero villain, because she wasn't necessarily in the wrong. She is a cop trying to extradite HR for sincere crimes that he committed.
Yeah,
sure,
in their country, in their world, that she is a totally valid law officer.
Yeah, and sure, their punishments are incredibly severe, but now we're on some Star Trek shit of being like, how is it Earth's one responsibility to tell other Earths how their laws should be? What do we do here?
When he's a citizen of their Earth.
Yeah, yeah.
So he didn't come here looking for asylum. He was just like, sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gypsy was great. I hope she comes back.
Yeah, really good.
And crushed it.
And it's been a while since we've had
Cisco's.
Everything. They're everything.
Their vibing was so vibe.
I really feel like Flashpoint gave Cisco game. Like, I feel like that's one of the unintended consequences of Flashpoint. Because prior to Flashpoint, they talk about him and Midas were flirting and stuff. But I'm like...
Midas? You made up a character.
Midas?
Golden Glider.
Golden Glider. Well, it was a Midas gun.
Name.
Yeah.
Midas is
Golden Glider.
Also, he dated Hawk Girl.
Oh, yeah.
He's gotten some good ladies.
But did he actually, like, get it back from them in any regard?
He dated Hawk Girl.
He dated her?
Yeah. They
really?
dated. They, like, were kissing.
I guess
she had to choose Hawkman over Cisco, and she did.
Dang. I forgot about that. That is loftier than I expected.
All right, but he's never had this kind of game. Though.
Right.
Just
this is some next level game.
Instant game. Like teleports in, and
charming
he's just like
in every regard.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah, we could talk about this over coffee or maybe dinner.
There's a great Thai place down the street. I'm just like, who is this guy?
And because he was always kind of like goofy charming. This was straight up charming.
Mm-hmm.
The way he talked to her, I'm like, yeah, get it, girl. Like, it felt good.
I totally agree. For the first time in this entire show, I was like, hey, Cisco.
What's up?
And I was kind of like, yeah.
Unintended consequence.
Sometime.
Yeah.
Sir Titan in the live chat is saying, despite our technical difficulties,
hey, Sir Titan.
Does Cisco know he's in love with himself? I'm pretty sure Gypsy is him from Earth 19.
Sir Titan says Gypsy is him from Earth 19. That makes a lot of sense. And
that might be completely the case.
I've got a lot of questions about Gypsy's breaching abilities, actually.
Yeah.
Is she the only cop on that entire planet?
I think, the way she describes it, I think there are other people who do that job, but maybe they have, like, the technological, like, the machines, like Barry does, like, when he has that little chest thing that allows him.
Supergirl one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, like, they might have, like, a technological-based police force that does interdimensional crimes.
But anyway, I totally agree. You can just fall in love with your Earth doppelganger. That makes tons of sense.
Love yourself, you know?
Yeah, if I met male Diana, I'd be like, you're great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about sidekicks.
If I met female Andrew, I'd be like, yeah, lock it down. Love yourself, you know? It's the first step. That's the first step in learning to love anybody else.
I can't wait for the storyline where we leave each other for the doppelgangers of ourselves on another world.
I think it'll be a great and complex storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like this was. All right, and now those are, we can keep going on pros, we gotta go to cons.
We gotta go to cons. So let's switch it up and go to cons. All right, so cons for tonight's episode. Diana, what didn't you like?
I liked Iris's, like, most of her storyline. I thought it was weird that her storyline was about, like, making a mark in the journalism world and not about saving lives.
Okay.
She wasn't like, I want to get these guns off the streets and save lives. That'll be my legacy. She was like, I need to have a Pulitzer before I die. It seemed like she was really just about the fame and recognition of it all. And that didn't seem right at all.
That is a really good point. I definitely had some issues with what that was trying to accomplish as well. And again, I'm putting it in the con category, and I know this is the type of thing that we've discussed before, but it's not even as heavy a con because the writing was so strong. But it didn't quite make a lot of sense. You're right. Getting guns off the street would have been a much more noble goal.
It's a very Irisy goal.
To beat the cops to it as a story, I can't figure out what Iris's story is for the newspaper, other than guns sure do exist illegally. No good. Like, I don't know who she was trying to take down with that.
No, and I don't really know, like, she wanted to make her mark, but I'm like, you're the lady who named The Flash, which is how you got a job at a newspaper with no journalism degree. Like, that, they even said, like, when she got that journalism job, they're like, we're doing this because you named The Flash, and you're like,
she left a mark. Yeah.
She left a mark, and then she says, I don't want to be like my mom and not have left a mark, and I'm like, burn on your poor mom.
Yeah, that's a real out of nowhere. Throwing shade at your dead mom out of nowhere is real weird.
Like, and even if you're gonna be like, I'm not worth anything, you still got that brother you love who's a Flash.
Yeah, you got that brother. You've definitely helped the Star Labs team save lives before.
She's done plenty of stuff.
Like, I'm not saying like the team wouldn't exist without her, but I'm saying that she at least saved minimum 30% of one life at some point.
I agree.
She had an impact on the world, naming the Flash, saving lives, and why are you throwing shade at your dead mom? There's so many questions there.
And I kept expecting her to say, when she said, I'm not afraid to die, I really expected her to say, I'm afraid to not have lived enough. Like, I thought she was doing dangerous things to be like, I'm going to die in 4 months. I want to do as much as possible. But it doesn't seem to be what she was trying to get at.
I get that, yeah.
She just wanted to, like, get a wiki page.
Iris
just really wants a Wikipedia page.
I don't know. It was weird. And it's still a soft con because, like, I'm just saying that I feel like that B or C storyline could have been better, but it was still a great episode and a tolerable one, just with a few little critiques there. I would say another con for this episode was I saw the twist with Wally coming a little bit too early. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, okay. And I'm almost kind of disappointed with the Star Labs team for not realizing what Barry realized at the end of the episode, because there were so many lines like in this episode where it was like, you make it look easy, boy, you're gaining speed fast, and then Julian being like, you're just not gaining speed fast enough.
Okay.
And then Iris is like, I'm looking for a story or something I could journalist to really leave my mark before I die. Wow, you need someone to go faster. Wally, you're doing great. Anyway, guns. Like, it felt like everyone was just one sentence away from figuring it out, and they never did.
I guess I get what you're saying. They really did. I think I didn't really think about it because I know Wally is currently not nearly as fast as Barry.
Okay.
Or at least not as fast as Barry. So I'm like, even if you get him faster, quicker, he's like, Barry's still already ahead. So like, I guess you'd have to see another. Julian needs to make me another chart. I actually think it's gonna work.
I feel like they've said already that Wally has passed Barry.
No, he has passed how fast Barry got by this point.
Oh, in Barry's own career.
Yeah, okay. Like when Barry was 2 weeks into being the Flash, he wasn't nearly this fast.
Okay.
But like Barry's already beat Reverse Flash and Zoom. He's doing things.
Right. And in the chat room as well, I see Dave Foamsby, or usual. Hey, Foamsby, is talking about Iris's death wish and her assumption she's invisible.
Invincible, probably.
Invincible. Not invisible, invincible. And which I agree with. I liked her interpretation of being like, yeah, causality rules and says that I am alive in the future to be killed very soon.
Exactly. You're trying to make changes? Go fight every single villain. Go break a leg.
And honestly, when they said, when I think it was Wally said Joe described it as your death wish, I'm like, Death Wish is a great hero name. If she became Death Wish,
cool.
who in her last 4 months on Earth that she knows due to time travel and causality she can't die in because she's destined to die 4 months from now, Death Wish going around and collecting and stopping an illegal gun ring and just stopping crime across the city, guess what? Also a terrific way for you to leave your mark on history.
I would read that comic book so hard. I would watch this storyline if that's what they were doing. That's super cool.
Any comic book or storyline where there's timelines or travel that you can't change, if you see yourself alive in the future, become Death Wish. You have until that amount of time to be unkillable.
That's a great you're onto something here.
Well, I owe the inspiration to Foamsby in the chat room.
No trademark for you. We're keeping it.
You'll get an inspired by credit.
Oh, inspired by me.
Do we have anything else going on in the chat room you wanted to bring up for that? No, we're good. That's really all I have to critique for this very good episode for the most part.
Very fine episode.
Very fine episode. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's move on then from cons and let's start talking about Easter eggs. All right, so let's talk about Easter eggs on tonight's episode. Diana, what did we find for Easter eggs?
Well, let's talk about Gypsy for a second. So Gypsy is a character. She's actually a Justice League member.
Oh, is she?
Yes, very briefly in the Justice League.
Okay. Unlimited, America, or just Justice League?
I think like West.
Oh, okay.
You know, one of those adjective ones
at
the end.
One of those directions.
No good.
Yeah. One of the directions.
Yeah, one of the directions. Yeah, because she was on Steel and like Aquaman's team.
Okay.
So she was.
I think that is West. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So she doesn't actually have vibe powers. She can see the future sometimes, but she mostly does like illusions and stuff.
Oh.
In the comic books.
Okay.
But she was on the team with Vibe, and she foresaw his death, and then he did die. So she didn't really stop it.
Okay.
But so I'm wondering, like, I really hope they bring her back because I loved her anyway. Right. But also if they brought her back, because the Vibe people can see the future sometimes.
Yeah.
It doesn't come up very much.
It hasn't come up at all since they first introduced Vibe powers. Now it's just like a force field and interdimensional travel.
Yeah, I feel like in season 2 it was mostly about seeing the future.
But now here's the thing. I don't think he ever... I could be wrong in remembering this incorrectly or filling in the blanks in a weird headcanon way. I don't think he ever saw the future. He always saw visions from a parallel Earth.
Oh, maybe that's what he saw. I recall him seeing the future, but I could be wrong.
Because his first visions were of Hawkgirl, but they never really explained those. It was just her with wings, and later she had wings.
But also she'd been Hawkgirl in the past.
Yeah, and also there could be Hawkgirls on parallel Earths, because all he does is vibe someone's like parallel Earth thing. So I don't know if he necessarily sees the future. I think that might have been a misinterpretation of his own powers in those first days
they
where...
hadn't introduced Earth 2 yet.
Yeah, and in those first days where he wasn't telling people about his powers and he didn't know what those visions meant. And then they made the guess that it was the future. But I think maybe he doesn't see the future. I think he just sees parallel moments.
I can't remember any specific examples now, so I'm not going to argue this point either way.
Fair enough. I'll take it.
I will take it either way.
Yeah, because he could touch... When they had Jay Garrick's helmet, he would touch that and saw what was going on with Jay Garrick on Earth 2. But he didn't see the future. He saw what was currently happening with Garrick on Earth 2.
I think maybe he did.
Yeah.
Can't recall.
Okay.
All right.
Something to revisit in the future. Yeah. But what else do we have going on with Gypsy? Or anything else with Gypsy?
That was mostly
it with Gypsy.
She can't normally do this. She saw Vibe die. It's cool that she was in like a vibey episode, so they gave her the Vibe powers.
Okay.
And then other things, obviously, I think a lot of people noticed this, but when we were jumping from world to world, one world was Supergirl's world, obviously.
That was great.
That was a real cute idea, right? I really hope next week on Supergirl, Jimmy walks into his office and is like, "What the hell?
What happened? What happened here?"
That would be amazing if they did that.
Right. That desk was very expensive.
One of my million TVs fell.
And we didn't get to it in the pros, but that whole fight sequence was a pro for me. I don't want to dive back too far, but yeah, great. The Supergirl universe was terrific. I assume that was... Do you think that was Gypsy's universe? That first one they went to?
It looked like it had blimps and...
It looked very very retro future.
Retro.
Yeah,
I agree. And then I assume that Lava
Planet...
Planet...
like Batman the Animated Series, like, oh, blimps are still a thing, but it's also kind of timeless, yeah.
And I think that Lava Planet was like Mustafar. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what Lava Planet was.
Going on
you didn't really get a real pan shot of Lava Planet. It was just like implied that there was lava going around.
Lava Planet I love is like literally anything we've stopped just doesn't get stopped, and you get Lava Planet.
Right.
Like Barry doesn't shut down the big portal that was going to eat the world. You get a Lava Planet, probably.
Right. I get that. Yeah, it could have been Mustafar. Like there would have been a fun joke if he was just like, is that Anakin's body? Like something going on around there.
It's something Cisco would have said,
and it is something Cisco would have said. Yeah.
And then the last one, I thought it was so weird. So they had Lego Flash. But they didn't say Lego. They just said toys.
They did not.
But DC is licensed to Lego, and I thought they did it because Lego Batman comes out next week.
Yeah,
so I thought it was like Lego Flash to tie in.
And
with Lego
the Flash was in the Lego movie.
He was in the Lego movie.
Yeah,
he
Lego
breaks in with
and the Flash are tied together. But the only thing I don't know is what studio produces the Lego movies, because even though they own, I don't know.
Because if they make a Batman movie, it has to be Warner Brothers.
Warner? It's WB? Yeah, so it's WB who does it all. Yeah, so, you're right. It should be.
Why didn't they say Lego?
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
I thought that was a subtle tie-in to the Batman Lego movie, but they didn't say Lego, so I'm like, worst commercial
I would have even accepted a non-subtle tie-in to the Lego Batman movie if it was like, we made this diorama out of Lego, and he was like, oh, it's a little Lego me, and like, who is this? And it's like a Batman figure.
That would have been so good.
He could have looked into the camera and said, like, the Lego Batman movie comes out in theaters this weekend. I would have accepted any kind of a fun anything in that scenario. It was weird they didn't.
Instead, he was the Red Astronaut, who is also in the Lego movie.
He was also, he was Red Astronaut.
A lot of connections. Lego, I mean, they connect to each other and they connect to other things.
It's all connected. This is part of the larger multiverse now. Yeah.
So that's it for my Easter eggs.
Right. Okay.
On a very fun episode of The Flash that I might watch again after we're done.
Real good episode.
It was that fun.
In the Lego movie, all of those characters ended up just being controlled by the kid and father in that basement. What if there's like a Lego Flash movie that is just them enacting this diorama? You know what I mean? And then you pull back, and then it's them with the things.
Okay.
It's all connected. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I lost you on that one. It was too many layers.
Too many layers. Too many layers.
We went too deep. We inception too far.
It's a dream inside a dream. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Sorry about the technical difficulties and that we were not live this week, but thank you for tuning on Dorkshelf's YouTube and watching Fan v Fan, as always, at a slightly later time than usual, but we appreciate you greatly, and we'll be back live again next week.
You will, and if you want updates, you can follow Dorkshelf on Twitter at Dorkshelf.
Yeah.
You can subscribe right here on YouTube.
Be sure to subscribe below.
All the good updates.
There we go.
And you can find us at FromSuperheroes.com or here next week.
There we go.
I'm Diana McCullum.
I'm Andrew Rodney.
Bye.
Kicked him out.